The Titanic killed more than 1,500 people. So why did a baker survive? On the night the Titanic struck an iceberg, thousands of people were suddenly trapped inside what was supposed to be the safest ship on Earth. Panic spread, lifeboats were lowered, and the freezing Atlantic waited below. Most people remember the wealthy passengers, the famous names, and the tragedy itself. But one of the strangest stories from that night belonged to a man working far from the spotlight, the ship's chief baker, named Charles Joughin. While chaos slowly consumed the vessel, he was still below deck, surrounded by ovens, bread, and the routine of a job that should have ended like everyone else's. As the reality of the disaster became impossible to ignore, fellow bakers rushed to escape and crew members rushed to help passengers escape. The baker helped too, but according to multiple accounts he was also drinking whiskey. A lot of it. That detail would later become the center of one of the Titanic's most debated survival stories. Hour by hour, the situation worsened. The ship tilted. The decks became crowded. The lifeboats disappeared into the darkness. Then the ocean began taking the ship for itself. Water pushed farther inside. Rooms vanished beneath the Atlantic. The unsinkable ship was losing. Eventually, there was nowhere left to run. The baker entered water so cold that many victims survived only minutes. By all logic, his story should have ended there, but it didn't. Somehow he stayed conscious. Somehow he stayed afloat. While others vanished into the freezing darkness, he remained alive. Minutes became longer than they should have. The cold should have won. The ocean should have won. Yet when rescue finally arrived, the baker was still breathing, still conscious, still alive. And that's where the mystery begins. Because many people believe the whiskey saved him. The problem is that modern experts often say alcohol makes hypothermia worse, not better. Perhaps something else kept him alive that night. More than a century later, people are still asking the same question. Did a bottle of whiskey help Charles Joughin survive the Titanic, or was he simply the luckiest man in the North Atlantic that night? Nobody can fully agree. What we do know is this: the Titanic claimed more than 1,500 lives. The baker should have been one of them, but somehow he wasn't. And perhaps that is why the story refuses to disappear. Not because a baker drank whiskey, but because he walked away from odds that should have been impossible. Drop your thoughts, and if you're drawn to human anomalies and hidden patterns beneath reality, like this video and hit that subscribe button.